Scrapbookers and creative friends. I'm Linda Petuch. I'm a Creative Memories Independent Advisor in Jupiter, Florida. Welcome and thank you for watching. Now today, before I get started on my content, I just want to say sometimes you have an epiphany, and Creative Memory has all these wonderful polka dotted storage. These are the pens that they just came out with. We have all these storage solutions and so forth with these polka dots, and I'm thinking, I'm so drawn to them and I can't figure out why. Well, then a couple weeks ago, we had an unusual kind of rainy days in a row, but that doesn't happen very often in southern Florida. But we had these rainy days and I had to get my umbrella out to go to my tap class, and look at this. This was my umbrella that I bought for our trip to Japan because it folds up to be really, really tiny. And I thought, well, no wonder I'm drawn to the polka dots. I love color, so that's exactly why. So I digress. Let's get on with our content for today. So today's Thursday thoughts are about designer paper packs that Creative Memories creates. Our designers, our artists are very good about using a palette and using different designs within a packet or within a theme that are very flexible. And that's what I want to show you. I have two packets that I'm going to show you today. The first one is called something blue, and that is our wedding packet. And some of the embellishments are specifically wedding, but I just want to show you the papers in there, and I want you to start thinking about how you can use them just for the color theme if it's something that you like, or for the theme that the paper makes you think of. And then I'm also working with the Welcome Baby, and you'll see that some of it is very baby, but some of it is completely not. So that's what I want to share with you. So I hope you enjoy this, and just think a little bit so you can get more use out of your packets, really. You want to get more use out of the paper you buy. So just kind of think about it, and we'll all be open-minded, and let's see what we can come up with. So this is something blue, and this was released as our wedding paper, our new wedding line. And it's true that it does have, as I said, some of the embellishments are very specifically wedding. But if you look, I want to show you the paper pack, and then you can see how some of it could be just very, very flexible. Now, one thing that I do when I get a new paper pack, because there are 12 sheets, but there's 6, so 2 are identical, and each one. So what I do, so that when I'm brainstorming and looking and trying to decide what I want to do, I go ahead and I take the paper and I put, this is the back, so what I do is I flip one over so that when I'm looking at the paper, I really get a good overview of all the different designs, so that when I'm planning. Now, you can see how some of these are completely flexible. They wouldn't necessarily be wedding. If you have blues in your wedding, or even if you have other colors in your wedding that blue will complement, then you can think of it that way. It's kind of a green. And as you might remember, if you're familiar with our products, the Creative Memories designer paper packs also include, on the front cover, they include coordinating cardstock. So that already opens up some more ideas for you, things that you can use. But I want you to see how this says wedding. I mean, this is released as wedding, but it definitely is very flexible for many, many other things. Now, before we get into the Welcome Baby paper, I love to make borders. So 2 of the most recent Border Maker cartridges, this one is called Scalloped Hearts, and I believe this came maybe in February, but this little bears punch came with the Welcome Baby bundle, and I really love bears, teddy bears, real bears. So I could not wait to get my hands on this. So I want to show you what I did with my borders. So I used the scalloped hearts, of course, to make an edge, but then because we talked last time about negative and positive space, we get these beautiful negative spaces, and depending what color you put underneath it, you can already have a finished border. And I just added that edge so that you would have again, more negative space depending on what paper you put that on. But it's a really adorable border that is very flexible for color. Same thing with this. I use kind of a rose, kind of a dusty rose color here, and a yellow bears again. And I do save all of these little punch outs because you'll see that I use them later. This one, I just expanded it a little by I put it on a thin piece of the lavender, but then I added the little zigzag, little rickrack border maker cartridge on there. When you punch this, you get two. So I was able to use them in other borders and pages, which you will see. Now on this one, I decided that I wanted to use the piece that's the landing piece for the bears. I cut it so that I could, I cut the paper at it was about 2 1/4, 2.5 inches, and I punched both sides. You know, when you are using the border maker cartridge and you get a small piece of paper like that, all you have to do is put some, you can put some sticky notes there, and that makes it wide enough so that it can fit in the border maker cartridge. I can put a link for my border maker cartridge video so you can see how I did that as well. But I really like the look of this. That negative space is just so beautiful, making a really pretty design. And on this one, remember I said I saved those punch outs? Well, what I did was I used the hearts that I punched from this scalloped heart, and then I added them on there just for another touch of color. So this was primarily just the little teddy bear, the little bear punch. But now look and see what I did. Because this was baby, I decided, you know, you can look at our border maker cartridge punches, and I knew that if I look at the underside of these, okay, both of the prongs are sticking in the same way. I looked at them and I thought they would probably be able to hook onto each other, and I could make a chain alternating. So that's what I did on this one. I alternated the hearts. This is the one that's just called Hearts Chain, and our new bears, and I alternated that for another look, and then used the scalloped hearts down here. I love the look of that. Then I decided I wanted to use our jammies, and then this was another, it's called Shutter Love. I think this was released last year. I cannot remember, but again, look at that. You can see where the silver is. You can see how these would probably hook together. So I made jammies, alternated the Shutter Love and jammies, and then because there is a little, there's a punch out here, this heart is punched out, but just to add a little more dimension, a little more interest, then I took one of my punched hearts of a different color, put them there, again with the scalloped hearts, but it makes a really cute little border. I took the jammies again, and on this one with the jammies, it's just all jammies, and but I added different color punched out hearts. These hearts again are from the scalloped hearts, so I saved those. And then here's that little rickrack again that I had left from the first time I punched it. And I did make 2 of these, so you could have these for a double page. This would be for a double page spread. So I made 2 of those. So now I want to take you on a little look at the paper. Okay, so when you look at this welcome baby, some of the pages are, some of the paper is very much designed for babies, but a lot of it is really open. You can see the beautiful color palette here. So here's what I did with the welcome baby. I did start with baby kind of paper. Now, I have a lot of rabbits in my yard, so this, you know, might be baby, but it's also my baby rabbits that come to the yard. So this is pretty flexible, especially like for spring, that kind of a thing. But look at the flip side. It's wood grain. So, you know, you can use this for any project that you would want to. Very flexible. So here's what I did. So this was my first page I made. And I just saw those bunnies and I thought, oh my gosh, some bunny loves you. I put little stickers down here. I punched out some hearts, popped them up on foam squares, free cut some little bunny ears to put by the word bunny. And then I have 2 rows of the rickrack zigzag at the top. But yes, this wouldn't necessarily have to be baby, but it could very easily be baby, because some bunny loves you is really flexible. Now here's one where I used our bear punch again, and I let the green come through that negative space, and then I added some lavender, the lavender rickrack or zigzag on there, just to kind of frame the punch. Leaves a lot of space though for photographs of different sizes. All right, now this is another piece of the welcome baby paper, but I went a totally different direction. This could be a baby page, or a young child, or it could be you, because you know, we worker bees, we lady worker bees are always busy as a bee. But again, I used the rickrack, made a frame out of it. This is our little bee punch from a couple of years ago, National Scrapbook Day. So I added those in the corner, popped up on foam squares, and I just think that's really nice. And again, lots of space for journaling and for photographs. Oh, the flip side of this too, if you drop this into one of the top loading pockets, you have another page that's ready to go, which I often do because I really like to use both sides of my paper. Okay, this one, I had already made this busy as a bee, cute as a bug. I made a lot of these little labels before Creative Memories was creating embellishments like that. This is from the old Creative Memories. So these were the old Mrs. Grossman stickers. And I printed these on Creative Memories paper, and then used the Mrs. Grossman stickers. So the ink might not be photo safe, but it does not touch my photos, so we're okay with that. But here, I thought, I really would like to use the postage stamp. This was our postage stamp that came out with our travel, I believe it came out with the travel bundle, but I really like it, and I thought, what a nice way to make a frame for the ladybugs. Ladybugs were from last year. We get 3 sizes of ladybugs. And I just used the small one and the medium one. And don't laugh, but I did these 2 because the ladybug's wings are symmetrical. So that's why I chose to use these 2. Plus they fit in there really nicely. And then I popped up a little embellishment down here. You can have a title or a little journal. That's kind of the title here, but you could add some journaling right there. A lot of room for pictures. Baby paper, but could be for a baby, a toddler, just somebody who you love who is cute as a bug. And on the back, now we do have this other paper on the back as well. Okay, I had to get out our little rubber duckies. I used the rubber ducky, and then I used the Border Maker cartridge with the moon and stars because I was thinking tubby time, bath time at night. And so that's why I did this. I punched out the ducklings in different colors of yellow, as you can see. And then I alternated the wings so that they would show up. And then all I did was I used the precision point adhesive to make like a little puddle there because it's really hard to put adhesive on that. But then once it was dry enough, I just kind of lifted it up and gave it a little bit of texture so that way it'll make a little shadow and it'll give you some texture. This punch right here looked to me like water, and it just kind of reminded me of Baby, that ruffle trim. So I added, that was my water for the tub. There's my first little tubby time. The back has the mama and baby geese, so that can also be used in a drop-in page beautifully. Here's another ducky, and on this one I combined some of my favorites, the little jammies as well as the Shutter Love, and added, instead of adding the heart here, I added it on the larger heart, and then I decided to make many different colored ducks. Because yes, yellow duckies were a thing for a while, but I see them with not only different colors, but wearing all kinds of costumes. So I decided to do that, and again use the ruffle trim for that to be the water that the ducks are on. Oh, and this side is perfectly usable as it is, again for a drop-in pocket. Okay, now this was the last of the baby I did with the baby paper, but now look what I did. I took a different direction. So when I saw this paper that had all of the blocks with the letters all over it, it made me think of Scrabble. So I decided to make a Scrabble, like for a Scrabble game or like a game night. And I used this punch, which is our admission ticket. And I honestly counted. I was thinking about using a postage stamp, but I needed it larger spaces for the letters, and this just worked out perfectly for spacing. So for a family game night or kids playing games, I thought this would be a really nice background for that. And did I put it? Oh yeah. And then it's very plain on the back, so you could add more photos, or it could just be in chronological or non-chronological order, because this is a very neutral kind of a page. But so this is Baby, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, this one with the mama and the baby geese, it just I wanted again for it to be generic. I added some, these were Botanical Burst embellishments. I believe this was from last year's spring collection. But then, or maybe it was, I don't know, Secret Garden maybe. And then I used some stickers from Totally Tonal because it looked like this leaf on here. To coordinate it, I used the decorative trimmer to get a little swell on here on the side. But now this is ready to go. And any happy day. It doesn't have to have geese really involved, but it just makes a really nice setting for your photos. Okay, this one was a gingham. I mean, gingham is, again, very flexible. On this one, I used the Cloud border maker cartridge, and I punched both sides of it so it would look cloudier. And then I did the scallop with the decorative trimmer, added some embellishments. These are some drop flowers that I had made. This was from Secret Garden, the little hummingbird and some of these bees. But again, I went into my stash, punched, of course, the picket fence and the grass, but that's just a beautiful page. Could be a spring page, could even be summer, depending on where you live. But it's just someone who is your sunshine, or if you're playing in the sunshine. Again, very flexible. And on the back, it's just a striped paper. So again, you can use the back if you put it in a drop-in pocket. And the last page I have for you, I did a double page. This is our beautiful spring leaf, that new spring leaf standalone cartridge that came out just last month with our spring collection. And this is the baby paper. But look at that, how beautiful that looks. It does not say baby to me. That just says flowers and leaves in springtime. And on the flip side, I used the frame, this frame punch, excuse me. It's the arch frame and border punch. But the arches, I thought that would be really pretty with that striped paper. So now I have a page ready, generic page ready, double-sided, that I can use for whichever, whatever theme that I want, whatever it goes with. Well, I hope that gave you some ideas of ways you can look at a paper packet, but don't think of what it is released as. Don't think of that name. Look at the paper, look at the designs, look at the color palette, and just think about how you might use it another way. Just kind of brainstorm with you and your packets. Just brainstorm a little bit. See what you can come up with. Again, I often sit with the paper spread out in front of me, with my borders right all around me, and I pull them out and I look at them and I think about how they might go together. Some days you just want to be creative. Don't worry about your photos when you're doing this kind of a thing. Or you can, if you know that you have photographs that would go with some of that paper, that's another great place to start. Think, oh, I have papers, I have photos with that color. I'd like to pick up on that color. So look at your designer paper packs and see what would go well with that, and just go for it. So I hope you got some good ideas. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, please put those in the comment below, and I'll be happy to answer them if I can, or I'll find the answer for you. Happy scrapbooking. Goodbye for now.